Hey, this is Dave coming at you from Southeast Michigan. Figured I'd do another video. Justin and I have been really busy with the rental houses. Unfortunately, that's our main source of income, and we got 4 pretty bad vacancies all at the same time, pretty much back to back. So we've been working on that for about 3 to 4 months, unfortunately. But it's the weekend, and I figured I'd come over here and clean up and go over some of the plumbing that we did. We're on the rough plumbing. We were able to squeeze in about 3 weeks to do this between all the other stuff we have going on. The last video I believe I did was on one of the vacancies that they left it pretty trash. So I'm gonna do a video when that house is all done. We actually had to pull off that one, and we had a smaller apartment, loft apartment come available, and that was only like a 3 or 4 day cleanup. So we decided might as well get that one back on the books before we go to the bigger one. But anyways, there's a lot of videos on the drain plumbing out there, and before I did this, I actually bought a code book. And I have an electrical background. I'm a licensed electrician, so I was able to comprehend the book a little bit easier because a lot of the trades books are written the same, and I'm pretty good at the electrical code book. So when I got involved with the plumbing code book, everything just made sense to me. And I'd like to go over some of those codes that maybe some people don't understand. If any plumbers see this video, feel free to critique me in the comments if I'm getting anything wrong. But I do understand a lot of the codes are good to know, but then I actually kind of learned why it's the code. You know, how the water flows, and how the vents work, how how the air comes in and helps drain. But anyways, let me start out by when we roofed the house, we planned ahead, and we went ahead and put the vent flanges in with a short piece of pipe hanging down, because I just look at it like it's not too hard to kind of just gauge. You can pretty much put them anywhere. And so what we did is we just knew that this would be a pretty big plumbing group here, with my daughter's bathroom area, and the kitchen's right here, and then we have the guest bathroom right back to back from the hallway here. So we figured, well, let's just put a vent pipe here, and see, it's right there that goes out the roof. So we just had a short pipe with those 2 supports fastened very securely, because another thing, when you install that, you want to make sure that that pipe itself is very secure, so the rubber on the flange stays ramped up. If that pipe slowly slid down, it could kind of pull the rubber in like this, and would create like a water ring on the top. So as long as that's really secure, and you push that flange, that roofing flange, over the 3-inch pipe, it should stay good. And so what we did is we shined a flashlight up there to make sure that the rubber's still up, which it was. And it also makes it to where when you glue your pipe up on it, you're not pushing it, out farther outside the roof line. So we put one here, one on our second story, one over by the one bathroom over there, just because it's its own spot, and we didn't want to run a vent pipe in the attic all the way to the other one, or run that one this way. So let me get to some of these. I'm just trying to think of where there's so much to this, and I want to make my videos as informative as possible. So this might look a little bit strange. We did a 2-inch to 1.5 T, horizontal to vertical. It's always a T in the trap arm stage. And I'll get to what a trap arm is and what a P-trap is and all that stuff. But the reason why we did this was mainly because there is a code that says a trap can be one size bigger than the actual fixture it's using. But the trap arm has to be the same size as the P-trap. You cannot make the pipe in other words, you can't go through a P-trap and then enlarge it before it gets to the vent. It states it in the code. I read it in both code books. Another one, really, let me back up. One question I've gotten, and I figured it out just through my own research, is to figure out what code book you go to, simply just go to the website of the township or city that you're building in, and just go to their trade area where you pull the permits. It will tell you right there, what code book your jurisdiction uses. And that's what dictates everything, is what code book the actual city or township is using that's going to inspect. That's their Bible, so to speak. So anyways, I ended up kind of getting lucky because the Uniform Plumbing Code Book is much more strict than the actual Michigan Residential Plumbing Code Book. So I went ahead and purchased one of those, and I was just reading along and figured some stuff out. But anyways, right here, the reason why we did this and then just put a reducer there, this was simply just to save money. Because with inflation and everything, by code, it's just a vanity. You can have an 1.5-inch vent. And the only reason why we did a 2-inch, like some people I guess would ask, well, why didn't you just use an 1.5-inch T then? Because you could more than happily drain this at the 1.5 inch. But I wanted the actual drain pipe to be just a bigger size. And it's more rigid once you get into the basement and you're running branches with it. It's just a little bit more rigid, obviously, than the 1.5 inch. So this is back to the P-trap and the trap arm. A trap arm, this one's actually a good example because it actually has the trap arm pretty much already there. So in this instance, right here, you're going to eventually have the P-trap that hooks to this. I just brought this out long because I'm planning on just gluing one of those hardcore rigid caps here, and that's how I'm going to do my water test later. And then once the drywall's in, all we have to do is cut it back a little bit and put our adapter that goes from 1.5 inch Schedule 40 to the P-trap size of Schedule 30. So anyways, right from here, this is called a trap weir. The trap weir is at the bottom of the pipe right when it starts curving down, kind of like a low head dam. That's the weir. So this from here, this way is the trap arm. From here to the trap is the trap arm, which is, it's an arm. A trap arm is basically the arm that goes from the P-trap to the actual drain. Once you get to this drain, that falls under a little bit different codes. One thing too is that from this trap weir right here to where the P-trap is, and it's very hard to screw the code up on a sink, but you could screw it up when you're doing a laundry tub. You cannot have the P-trap any closer to the trap weir than twice the size of the pipe. It's really easy. If this is a 1.5 inch pipe and I wanted a P-trap here, it has to be farther away from here before it goes to the weir of the trap. It has to be more than 3 inches away. 1.5 inch pipe, twice, 1.5 inch times 2 is 3 inches. So in this case, most cases you don't have to worry about that. It's just because of the physical world. You're not going to have too many circumstances where you can create like an S-trap. The reason for that, here's the why of the code. When the water is flowing down, they want it to drop. And before it comes up like this, they want the level plane the gravity will drop the water flat, and it will allow air to create neutral pressure. The whole point of this vent, which is very important, is to maintain neutral pressure inside the plumbing. Maintain the atmospheric pressure. It's just like the back of the little thing on the back of a gas can. Your gas is going to chug, chug, chug and not drain right, but once you let air to create neutral pressure inside that gas can instead of negative pressure, that's what you want, and it'll drain smooth. Yeah, let's see what else. Oh, a standard size from here to the finished floor, 18 to the center of the pipe. I think we ended up going 18 to the top of the pipe, just because I noticed that when I do 18 to the center, there's always a little bit of pipe you have to cut off on the extension piece from the sink. In worst case scenario, if I had to just get a longer extension and cut it back, I just wanted to be more safe than sorry. I didn't want to drop this too low, and then the actual adapter from the sink is too short. So I went a little lower, but not much, by like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch at the most. Now, before I forget, I did this wrong before, and I want to point this out. If you have a dishwasher We made this one 16 from the finished floor. So to the center, it's 16 3/4. And this is a kitchen sink. Most codes are gonna make you do 2-inch here, which is a good idea. Garbage disposals, you're using it a lot. Food goes down. If you make this at 18 or a little bit more, once you put said dishwasher, I mean garbage disposal. Your garbage disposal has an inlet on the side that drops down a little bit lower than a typical P-trap that comes up. Here's your P-trap where it goes in, you know, coming down like this. You're gonna have the inlet coming out of the garbage disposal a little bit lower, and that'll make it to where it'd be hard for you to even get a trap in here at all. So that's something that you want to think about. Let's see here. But anyways, most of the codes with the slope, it's 1/4 inch per foot for 2-inch pipe or smaller. And then you can go as little as 1/8 of an inch per foot if it's 3 inches or bigger. Try to go 1/4 inch per foot, no matter what size drain pipe you're using. And they also want you to slope your manifolds. Now, right here, it's showing low battery already. I'm already at 11 minutes. I might do 2 of these videos because there's a lot to cover with the way this plumbing is. They want your manifold pipe to slope down as well. I can't remember which way. I think we sloped it down this way. And there's also a thing called critical distance where you can only go so far with your tramp arm before you have to have a vent. 3-inch, in the book I'm running from, it's insane. It's actually 12 feet. In the uniform plumbing code, it's literally only 6 feet. I believe with 3-inch, it's 8 feet, but with 2-inch, if you're doing like like this shower, this would be kind of against code. I'm barely, by the time we put our shower drain in, which we haven't done yet, I'm barely, I think I'm like at 6.5. I would probably still put it at 6.5, or maybe I would have put this closer this way, but I knew that since my township goes through the residential plumbing code book, I can go, I believe it was 8 feet. I could be wrong, but I got all these codes right. This isn't more like the codes, it's like why the water flows. And another thing too, as far as building it, if you have a Kreg jig, I think code is one of these in an 8-foot wall, and they usually just use banding strap, but I've never liked the banding strap because the pipe's still wiggling, it just doesn't work right. We just cut these and we just threw them in the Kreg jig, which only takes like 30 seconds. Drilled the holes, and then you can screw it in nice and perfectly flush and not have to worry about, you know, shooting with a nail, maybe hitting your pipe and stuff like that. So we just used 1x and did it that way. And then since it's 9-foot ceilings, we just made it to where it's like there's 2 per wall. Yeah, I could go on and on about this stuff. Even though I'm not a plumber, I'm digging it. I like it. This pipe has to be, I believe, no shorter on a laundry drop box, no shorter than like 20 inches or something like that. So I think we went like 21, 22 inches. Laundry tub, we just teed it into that vent. And then right here, we did a box to where the flex line, we actually planned it to where we're gonna have to change the valve a little bit, make it go straight out, but to where the flex line can stay right inside the wall so the dryer can actually shove right up to the wall pretty close. But anyways, this video is getting a little bit too long. Maybe I'll just do another video while I'm here and while the sun's out, and maybe I'll show you a little bit about what we're doing in the basement. This is Dave signing off.